So I've been looking forward to this task for a few days. I'm going to have some fun with it, I think, uh, in a twisted sense that only a technician could call fun. I've got a computer over here on this side, and it's this guy right here from a client's office. It's from a chiropractor's office. It's a bookkeeper's computer. Some of you are going to look at this computer and say, just replace it. My gosh, what are you doing with that computer? And yes, perhaps, especially once you hear the things that are going on with this computer, it would be very sensible. Just replace it. Don't bother with all this stuff. But this gives a terrific opportunity to test a few things that I've been wanting to test and further my technical expertise, or knowledge base, whatever you want to call it. And some of you who are following my channel, I think, will enjoy this endeavor. So, geez, where to start? Well, I'll let you know that I've got it connected to this monitor. So the computer's over here. When I'm on this computer camera, the computer's here, and you're seeing a corner of the monitor right there. So I'm expecting this to be a few videos on separate topics. I think I'll be able to title them appropriately for what we're about to do. This computer is failing to install Windows updates. When I go into Windows updates, it just has a bunch of failures. I'll show you that in a little bit. I'm sure it has a mechanical hard drive. There's two stickers on the top here. One is for the Windows Vista license number, and one is for the Windows 7 license number. So that gives you a little bit more about the generation of this. It's an HP Compaq computer. So that was back in the days when the computers came with both names on it, HP Compaq. The computer is performing okay for the user. She's not complaining about it. She says it's sluggish in the chiropractic software. But that is probably more the responsibility of their server, which we already have a replacement. It's in the other room, and we have an appointed date with the software manufacturer for their software that they use to do the installation. And when we went to schedule that date, it was like 2 months out. So we're waiting for that. So that'll probably speed up that part of it. So I'm not really needing to do speed improvements on this computer. The main reason why I have it brought in here is because it needs to be able to do Windows updates. So then I think, well, do I just fix the Windows updates or take this opportunity to do a few other things? So, of course I'm going to do a few other things. I've got amongst my assets to deal with is a couple of SP 512 gigabyte solid state drives and a Samsung 860 Evo solid state drive. And I have my Macrium thumb drive. I have an external hard drive, and I've got a SATA cable on hand. So I have so many different options of how to go about this, and I haven't figured out which way I'm going to go about it yet. Here's one of the things that I've been wanting to test is a computer that has, on this one, I suspect that it probably was upgraded from Windows Vista to Windows 10. Now, the reason why I think that is because I think I recall that her computer was on Windows Vista, and I was always cringing when issues would happen with it. And I suspected when that time period of doing upgrades to Windows 10 was occurring that I probably upgraded this computer. It's possible that I did a fresh install of Windows 10 because the setup for the computers in this office isn't terribly difficult. Just Microsoft Office and their chiropractic software is, I think, pretty much all she has on it. So again, that would be really easy to buy a new computer and just implement it. And the owner of the business, he wouldn't think twice if I recommend that's the way to go. And even if I spend all this time tinkering around with these issues that I want to demonstrate and learn, I may wind up saying, let's get a new computer. And all of that work is sort of out the window, except that in the meantime, I will have created a few YouTube videos that establishes, is this possible? Yes or no? Is this possible? Yes or no? And so on. So in regards to the Windows update, when I get to the point of doing that, I'm thinking what I'm going to do is just take, and oops, I need to get another memory stick for that. I think it's on this one that I've got Windows 10. It's although it's probably 1909, and what I would do is just install, use the media creation tool and put 20H2 on it, because that's obviously what we need to go to. Everything else is expiring soon. And boot the computer off of that and perform an in-place upgrade to that version, rather than trying to repair whatever's damaged with Windows Update, because I think doing that is going to automatically fix Windows Update and it's going to give me a stable, secure update to Windows 20H2. Now I've had 2 videos out recently. Well, no, 2 people. There was Greg and there was Luis. Luis was first, and then Greg. They were both failing the Windows 20H2 update. Greg was failing all updates since October. Well, we did a few videos with each of them trying to solve the problem, and for Luis, we got to a point where we said, let's just defer updates and let's let the date get closer, and maybe Microsoft will have fixed whatever is not working about his computer. Well, my gut tells me that it's probably still not going to work, and that I'm hoping that the solution will be to make a bootable USB Windows 20H2, boot the computer on that, and perform an in-place upgrade. For Greg, we got to a point where we had done a fresh install of Windows 20H2, and he decided to just run with that, to just go ahead and build that up, whatever else he needed to make it useful for him. At that point, I think I'm not sure, we had 4 or 5 videos, maybe it was 3, I'm not sure. But I think he was ready to just move on with life. So I'm kind of suspecting that as more and more computers get forced into the 20H2, more computers may turn up that are just failing to do the upgrade, and I'd sure like to find out if booting off of a USB memory stick and doing the in-place upgrade will solve that. Now, on this computer, I could do that while it still has the mechanical hard drive in it. However, of course, it'll run faster. The upgrade to Windows 20H2 will go faster if I do that on a SSD. Now, I want to start with a backup, an image backup of the hard drive as it currently is. So one of the ways I could go about that is to make a backup on an external drive. That's my routine. That's my usual go-to method of doing it. But I got to thinking, well, you know, it really saved me some time, and I've got quite a few things I'm wanting to accomplish with this computer over the weekend. Today is Saturday, March 27th, 2004. It's 2:04 in the afternoon. It's March 27th, 2021. I'm not sure how many numbers I messed up in there. But anyway, so what I'm thinking is I want to make an image backup to one of the SSD drives. I know I could clone it to the SSD drive. That's not the way I want to go. So I want to make an image backup to an SSD drive and then restore that image to another SSD drive and then perform the in-place upgrade to 20H2. So the original spinning hard drive is left intact as it is. Now, the reason why I want to make the image back up and then restore it is because if I have difficulties, glitches, or whatever, I can always restore that image again. That's one reason for doing it that way. Second reason for doing that way is that if I clone the existing spinning hard drive to an SSD drive, then it comes over in the exact same state. And I'm very suspicious. One of the things that I'm wanting to test through all of this is we know that Windows 10 does maintenance and optimizations, runs at night, and on a spinning drive it does defrag. So if I clone it to the SSD, I'm suspecting that it clones it in a fragmented state. But we're told that SSDs don't care about fragmentation. They use a trim function that is of it's a maintenance need, but it's not for the same purpose. It's not dealing with fragmented files. As I understand, it's to manage the utilization of the solid state drive, because every little different piece of the solid state drive, the memory spots, cells, whatever they call them, they each have a limited life. So an SSD drive, the Windows 10 constantly manages that to move data from one cell to another to keep the cells fresh of their charge and to keep the cells on the drive being utilized in a controlled manner so that they're all being worn down equally. There's a portion of the drive that's reserved for these purposes. Well, I think, and I'm not certain on this, that doesn't mean that there's these certain cells that are always reserved. I think what it means is that there's a quantity, a number of cells that are always set aside for this purpose so that the Windows will always be able to move data to a fresh cell, but that the cells that are currently being considered to be the reserve cells, that can vary, that can move around. It would have to in order for it to equally utilize those cells because they have a limited lifespan. Now that lifespan can be really, really long, far outlast the computer. But it's my understanding that is the strategy. Now it is possible that more expensive SSD drives might last longer than the less expensive SSD drives. And I haven't even compared the prices of these two for a while, but it's my impression that the SP is generally less expensive than the Samsung. So I need to try to cover all of this stuff. My watch thought I just spoke to it. So as far as on a spinning drive, one of the things that I'd like to test, and I'm not sure if I'm going to get to it this weekend because I've got to get this computer back to the user for work on Monday and with the update fixed. Is that going to be with an SSD drive sitting in there, or is that going to be with her spinning hard drive? I'm not sure. But one of the things that I'd like to test that I don't think I've started talking about, but if I were to make an image backup from the spinning hard drive to just an external hard drive or even an SSD, and then restore that image back to the same spinning hard drive, will the computer perform better? I've got this idea in my mind that it might, because I started on the subject of defrag. Windows 10 does defrag for spinning hard drives. Well, I don't think it can defrag the Windows operating system files because they're in use. It can't write those to a different location and then makes more space available and then write them back because those files are in use. When you make an image backup to another drive, not a clone, but an image backup, and then restore that image to the same physical hard drive, I think all those files are going to be automatically defragmented, including the operating system files. Now, what got me started thinking about this was one of the videos on my channel working with Tim. We did an image backup of his laptop and restored that image to his laptop, and later he reported that it starts up a lot faster. And he is a technical person. It's not his full-time job, but he does get paid by people to help them with their computer issues. So he's not a novice in saying that. And that's what got me started thinking, hey, I wonder if that is a thing to do to make an image backup from a spinning hard drive and restore it. And is that going to make the computer a lot faster? Now, he was talking about faster startup. I'm not sure about operational. I'm a little skeptical about speeding up the operation of a computer. Certainly not by doing that image backup and restore, because Windows 10 is doing defragmenting. So I don't think the defragment that would occur to the operating system files is going to have a big impact on the actual work that a person does within programs. Possible, maybe minute, because the operating system certainly still is involved, but it's not reading and writing to the hard drive a lot for operating system files during that time, I don't think. Now, as technicians, there's a lot of belief among technicians, speed up a computer by putting an SSD drive in. And beautiful. Well, technicians do that, and they see the computer start up in 20 seconds instead of 2 minutes. And they say, boom, faster computer. Give it back to the user, and then ask the user 2 weeks later, how's that computer going? You're expecting to hear them say, wow, what did you do? It's a lot faster, but they don't say that. Some of you know what I'm talking about. They don't say that. Yes, it speeds up the startup time, but the end user doesn't turn it on that often. They don't restart it that often. I teach my users, leave your computer on at night, close all your programs, leave the computer on, because Windows 10 does maintenance at night. If you shut it down at the end of your workday and then turn it on when you want to start working in the morning, you're going to have some troubles eventually. Maybe not every day, but you're eventually going to have troubles with Windows updates being forced upon you during working hours. So leave your computer on at night. So because of that, my users rarely experience starting their computer or restarting their computer. They'll have to restart their computer if there's a problem, perhaps. They call me and say, hey, Doug, I can't do such and such. Have you tried restarting the computer since that problem appeared? Say, well, no. Okay, go ahead and try that. They restart it and say, wow, that fixed it. You're a genius. I seriously have had them compliment my skills as a technician when restarting the computer fixes the problem. Is that person going to remember next time they have trouble to try restarting the computer before they call me? Probably not. It's going to take a dozen times for them to remember that. Well, don't snicker at them too much. Their focus is on their job, and many times having to deal with a computer is just the dirty requirement of the job, and they don't pay attention to or intend to try to remember that. You know, of course, some of them do, some of them don't. So how am I going to, what do I want to do first? I'm thinking what I want to do first is to document how long it takes this computer to start up. Now, this is another piece of what I've been wanting to do, is come up with a reliable way to measure the startup time of a computer. And I had thought that I was going to figure that out off camera, but now I've got this computer here and I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and figure that out on camera. So this is obviously going to make for a series of videos. I've been yakking at you for 20 minutes, and I think actually what I'm going to do is end this video here, entitle it appropriately, something along the lines of planning a I don't know what I'll call it. You know what I called it because you've already seen that title. But I think it's appropriate to end this at this point. Have I covered all the things that I want to tell you about in my plan? I think so. So I think what I'm going to do is end this video and maybe grab some lunch and then start with another video for establishing how long it takes this computer to start up. And this will be in one of those, what do they call them, lists, view lists, whatever. There'll be an end card probably down in the bottom right corner to take you to the whole listing of these videos. If you would like to request a free computer support session with me, send an email to dougbetts@livewindowstraining.com. Give me an ID in the body of the email what you'd like help with. As long as you're willing to come onto a Zoom session with me and let me connect remotely to your computer, then my help is free for whatever issues that you're having with your computer. Even if I can't fix it, that at least gets it out on a YouTube video. Maybe we can get help from somebody else. But so that's about it. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.